BB40 and straight black pride brothers and sisters. It's your brother, DC Radical 1, with another radical report. And today what we have is the highlights from Captain Ibrahim Traore's visit to Russia. He was invited to celebrate the 80th anniversary of the victory of Russia over Germany. And so he had an interview with Russian television, and I took some highlights from that, and I wanted the people to be able to see that, those who weren't aware that it had taken place, and so they could hear from Captain Traore for themselves, because as we know, there is an ongoing attempt by the Western media to vilify Captain Traore and place him in a certain light. So with that, we're going to get to this interview, and I hope that you all enjoy it, and don't forget to like and share it amongst the people so they can hear from our brothers themselves.
It must be said that until today in Burkina Faso, gold is the primary export product. But we've launched the engine of agriculture for self-sufficiency, but also for foreign trade and exports. If you've been following us well since last year, we have launched an agricultural offensive with a specific initiative. The objective is to be able to increase our agricultural production significantly to be self-sufficient, but also to sell outside. And all this must be able to support growth, and we hope we'll be well above these figures.
But how are these reforms actually going?
These are difficult reforms, we must admit, because of the system that's been installed. But it's not impossible. Already, when you look at our production, we had very good growth in 2024. In 2025, we hope to do even better. There are quite courageous reforms. When you take, for example, agriculture, we decided through the initiative of the offensive to plough the fields of our peasants for free. So last year we did it. This year again, there are a good many tractors that we have acquired, and mechanized cells will be available in various departments to increase the areas planted. We've grown vastly in water management through a structure that the National Office of Dams and Hydro-Agricultural Developments has created to control the water and be able to produce at least 2 or 3 times a year. Because if we only depend on the rains, it would be difficult. So there is this sector, the mining sector too, which will continue to boost for the country to exploit its own resources. We've started to acquire mines. There are a lot of permits which allow our engineers to develop the necessary machines so that we could exploit our resources ourselves. So if we take advantage of these 2 sectors, complete with industrialization, that is to say the transformation of our products on site, who will prevent us from exporting crude? It will lead us to very good growth. So it is these reforms that are underway in agriculture, industry, and many other sectors.
A little bit about security. What is the current security situation in your country and elsewhere in the region?
Yes, in the region, as you know, the security situation, at least, we're trying to evolve on the battlefield. That's the first thing, because there are several factors that come into play. On the battlefield, things are evolving. If we take 2023 as it is today, we've been able to recapture many areas and calm them. However, the enemy is also growing stronger. There are many foreign fighters joining the terrorists.
Can you be more specific? What are you talking about?
Yes, the terrorists are reinforced by many foreign fighters who come from elsewhere, who aren't actually, when I take the case of Burkina Faso, there are many criminals who are in Burkina, but who aren't Burkinabe. There are also trainers who come from many countries to teach them many techniques.
But what's their interest?
But it's not terrorism, it's imperialism. Their goal is to keep us in a permanent war, to prevent us from developing and continuing to plunder our research. So it's in their best interest to bring mining specialists to lay various types of mines, explosive specialists. Today, terrorists use drones to fight and everything. So these are professionals from certain countries who come to teach them all that. All this is to continue to keep us in a situation of insecurity. But we're taking stock of the situation. We're adapting each time to their mode of action, and we will continue to fight until we reclaim the entire Sahel.
Are there any specific countries funding these fighters?
All the imperialist countries are funding these fighters. There are many of them. We can't name them individually. Some we can't imagine are even hidden. But there are many. There are many.
There are those who aren't hidden and who openly declare it. I'm talking about the recent scandal involving support for terrorism in Mali. What is your view of what actually happened in Mali?
It's unfortunate they've openly stated it, that they support the terrorists. We've also noticed with a certain number of technologies that the terrorists may have acquired that it comes from them. It's unfortunate, it's very unfortunate, but the fact remains that we don't feel sorry for ourselves. We've taken stock of the situation, we're going to adapt, we're going to fight it, and they won't be able to win. That's the most important thing for us.
Mr. President, what is your view on the recent deterioration in relations with Algeria?
So you've been following the events, and I think everyone understands how things work. We regret the incident that occurred on the Algerian border with the drone that was shot down. It must be said clearly, this is not friendly. It's not friendly because you don't shoot down a flying machine like that. Everyone knows the protocol, so there's no point in hiding. If an aircraft crosses your border, even if it enters your country, we identify it, radars can identify it, and we know which country it belongs to. And there are diplomatic relations for that. We contact the embassy. There are defense attachés, there are many mechanisms. We contact them and they confirm whether it's their aircraft or not, whether it's on the territory. Maybe it needs help or has lost its bearings and all that. Because an aircraft can be in the air, it can have problems with the weather. It has to hide behind the clouds. This happens very often in our countries. So an aircraft comes in, we ask about it, they say no, there's a lot of cloud cover, but in any case, there's a meteorological phenomenon that causes it to come over. It could have a technical problem. It could ask for help to guide it to land. So there are so many factors that can cause an aircraft to end up in the wrong airspace. We don't systematically shoot down an aircraft. This happened to us. We've often seen an American aircraft enter our territory doing reconnaissance and everything. We didn't shoot down the aircraft. We took the trouble to contact the American embassy, which took a few minutes, confirmed it was their aircraft and cleared the area. So we don't systematically shoot down an aircraft. Shooting down an aircraft is a deliberate, unfriendly act, and it's regrettable.
But if I understand correctly, you're not closing the door to dialogue after all.
No, leaders must understand that we have no choice but to unite in the face of this situation of so-called terrorism, because it's a rather complex phenomenon. I'm telling you that Burkina Faso was sitting back in 2012 watching Mali. The regime that was in power was friendly with these people. Some even lived in Ouagadougou. But what's happening today? They've turned against us. They're not free people. They're manipulated by the imperialists, and the orders given to them, they give to their criminals on the ground, and they carry them out. Everyone must understand that we must unite to confront this. There is no negotiation possible with these people.
Exactly. Let's talk about this unit, or rather this integration that's currently taking place within the AES. Where are we now?
It's going well. It's evolving. So we're in the Confederation, and as I said, there are a lot of things to put in place. There you go. And we shouldn't try to move too fast and not do it right. So we're moving gradually. There are a lot of structures to put in place. There are a lot of aspects to upgrade in the three countries because, as you know, from an economic point of view, we're not at the same level. From a military point of view, there are a lot of aspects. We have to try to balance things, and that requires the establishment of a lot of structures, a lot of meetings.
Precisely. I had a question about the economic aspect, the creation of the AES's own currency. Is it still on the agenda?
Yes, it's on the agenda, of course, and so the process continues. There are a lot of things, as I would say. There are a lot of notes to sort out before we get there, but it's bound to happen sometime soon. If we're talking about sovereignty, we obviously need that sovereignty, so it's imperative.
Can we expect the AES to expand?
Yes, in the future, but for now, as I said, we have to normalize a lot of things ourselves. Really put the foundations in place, because there will be a lot of additional protocols, if you want to see. To harmonize our policies, whether diplomatic or economic, there are many policies to harmonize before allowing anyone to join.
But are there already countries interested in your format?
Yes, countries are interested. They could be, I don't know. But for now, the president of the federation is the Malayan president. He will be able to give his opinion on the matter, but there are countries interested in him.
How do you explain the decline of French influence in the region, not only in the Sahel, but also in West Africa, for example?
I think they themselves have contributed to diminishing their influence because they have a paternalistic view of our relations. You see, when you immediately consider everything we do, everything we take as an initiative, it's Russia. Someone speaks, they're influenced by Russia. Everything that happened is Russia. Why are they so blind? So Africans aren't capable of developing anything? Africans aren't capable of inventing, of innovating, of taking initiatives? That's what we're fighting. And as long as they continue to see Africans like that, as subhumans who aren't capable of thinking, who aren't capable of innovating or inventing, we can never be friends. Times have changed. So this is the very vision they have of black people. They have to stop this because they're treating us like this. It's as if they see black people as subhuman. That's dangerous. They have to change their language.
But how do you see this attitude?
Look at their speeches. Look at their speeches. Even the French president, always in his speeches, young Africans are influenced by Russia. He says the Western media, you listen to them often, they spend their time only lying. And look at the AES today, which is a model that is emerging. They can't get up from morning to night without talking about Burkina Faso or the AES. It's impossible for them. And every time he tries to send information to divide, manipulate young people. But it's no longer acceptable. I think people are quite aware. People have their eyes open. And all of you are victims of these people. Communication, what they're doing, what they say about Russia and everything. We know it. Until today, there are young Africans who still have their eyes closed, who believe their lies, the story of the Second World War. I was listening last time. Someone was saying that at the end of the war, in 10 years that followed, if you asked Europe who won the war, people would say it was Russia. But today, if you ask a European who won the war, they will say it was the West. Through communication, they've managed to reverse history, and African history too. They've conspired to spread the lies. And that means that some young Africans don't even know the history of Africa. What has Africa done? Some don't even know that our grandparents fought, were sent to the front as cannon fodder. And when they returned, they killed them like animals. Do people know that when France tested its first atomic bomb, it was black soldiers they put alongside in the lethal beam to see the effect it has? Let's get the archives out. Everything they used against Africa is terrible. So all of this needs to be communicated so that young Africans understand, because there are many who are still asleep and continue to communicate for the imperialists, what they tell them to say. They do it perhaps because they give them something. I don't know. But Africans must understand their history. Wake up. So that's our fight too.
So, brothers and sisters, that was our brother, Captain Ibrahim Traore. And I just wanted to put that out so people could hear from the brother themselves, and so we can help dispel the lies and fight against the propaganda that is being used. As we can see here, and those of us who are here in the West, it's obvious that they are trying to come up with an excuse to make a move against Captain Traore and the AES. And so the best thing we can do to fight against that is to put out the truth and to put out factual information and let the people hear the truth, and we can disseminate it and to counter the lies that the West is putting out against Captain Traore. So thank you for listening. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'm your brother, DC Radical 1. With that, I say, a BB for ODA. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also follow us on our other social media platforms. On Instagram, we're at dc.radical1. On Twitter, we're at dc_radical_ONE. And the Cashapp is $DC Radical 1. Again, thank you for subscribing. A BB for ODA and straight black pride.